Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy the Game Master and welcome to my channel. Well, a few weeks ago I did a poll on this channel and asked people what they wanted me to review next. And I did put too many options because there were ties between quite a few of them, so I chose to go with Undertale. Well, what I found out is a game that's just a little bit underwhelming. Not that it doesn't have any charm, it has a lot of charm, and it also has a lot of really good ideas. But the overall length of this game and what the game actually is left me feeling a bit disappointed, considering just the amount of hype that this indie game got upon release here on YouTube.
Sonny, this game is easy 'cause you can spare monsters. In my day, we played Dragon Warrior, where we killed every monster to beat the king. We loved it. Let me show you how it's done.
Okay, I'm not going to be doing a story analysis on this game, mainly because there are tons of other YouTubers talking about this game's story and its content. All you need to know is that you're a kid who is trapped in an underground full of monsters and you have to get out, and that's the basic plot. What the game does do differently is that it humanizes the monsters, and most RPGs, even ones like Tales of Xillia, in which one of your main character is a pacifist, gameplay-wise you're still out kicking major monster butt to get EXP. Here you have the option to spare even the bosses and monsters you randomly encounter, and the way other monsters react will depend on your actions towards them, and the game does hit you heavy right from the get-go when the monster that helps you through the first tutorial stage and even saves your life at the very beginning is also your very first boss, and what you do to this nice goat lady here, well, you kinda kill her so you can get out of the first stage that you're stuck in. The game is meant to replay, and after you finish it, you're supposed to go back and see what you can do differently. Your second time through, you'll know how to react so you can spare this character's life. And then sparing Papyrus will let you meet up and talk to his brother Sans more often than if you kill this character. The only problem is that the only big changes happen gameplay-wise if you either go completely pacifist or completely genocidal, and I haven't managed to quite be able to do that yet. You have to be either pretty good or pretty heartless in order to do either one of these, in my opinion.
I fought a goat lady and I won.
I rest my case. As you can see here, Undertale looks and plays like an old school Super Nintendo era JRPG. This means random encounters with plenty, and not much in the way of actually customizing your character, but the game is short, and for each playthrough, which only lasts about 5 or 6 hours, so being able to really customize your character doesn't really fit in. What does matter though is how you interact with each monster. While killing most enemies is easy, you just dodge their attacks in a bullet time-esque minigame and then counter-attack until their HP is gone and they turn to dust, with a boss battle being bigger and even more hectic. Finding a way to make friends with them or to get them to go away without killing them, though, is quite a bit harder. Some are like Pokemon, you have to wait until they're low on health to show mercy to them. Others, it's through actions that you can take on the battlefield, but taking the wrong actions will sometimes cause their attack powers to increase and make them more ferocious towards you. So it's always risky to try to find a way to spare them. But some of the challenges are also a lot more fun than just going through the game murdering everything. Bosses can also be spared too, and that can change the way the story is played. And oftentimes in these boss battles, it's just a matter of dodging their attacks until they run out of attacks so you can spare them. Killing enemies, though, gives you EXP, which eventually increases your love, which increases the health and attack power you have for the next battle.
At least you kept your head, Papyrus. Oh wait, no you didn't.
Anyways, next to your battles there are some minor and mostly forgettable puzzles, hitting switches or trying to navigate some pretty easy mazes. Overall, the dungeon design is completely forgettable. And the game is pretty short, about 7 hours or so on your first run through, and faster once you know all the puzzles afterwards. Granted, it's meant to be replayed doing different things to change your endings and stories, but only having 3 major endings is a bit of a letdown, considering how many factors you can change in this game. Like I said, just the shortness of the game and just the lack of variety in the dungeons really does leave me wanting more, and considering this game to be a bit overhyped. Graphically speaking, the game has some simple old school graphics. On the overworld, we get something that looks akin to an SNES game, with the battle sprites looking more akin to an Apple II game, with the fact that there is little to no color in the battle sprites or during the animations. Overall, I did enjoy the look of the game, and I thought it was charming in an old school way. You don't necessarily have to be complex in order to look good.
Alright, Sans, I'm gonna whoop ya. Ouch!
That serves the old fool right, the way he picked fights like that. Ugh. The sound is okay, and the music for the most part is kind of forgettable, but it does have an old school feeling to it. No real dialogue is spoken, but we get different sound effects for monsters speaking.
Whew! Barely made it back here. That skeleton guy was hard for someone who's supposed to be a mid-level monster.
Wait, you didn't mean you beat Sans. Old fart, don't tell me you killed Sans.
Sure did. That guy was hard, but with him out of the way, the monster menace is gone.
No, you don't understand. If you kill him, you unleash an evil that will destroy the universe. Look what you just did. The good news is it's easy to put back in place. Just talk to said evil, and if you give him your soul, you might be able to restore everything.
Would love to, but I traded it in a long time ago for an old CRT TV. These newfangled contraptions don't have giant backs that a proper TV should have.
Ugh. Just go talk to the guy and see what he can do, while I give a final recommendation to all who remain. Undertale is a pretty solid RPG trying to do an old school thing. Its battle system is somewhat fun, and I like the idea how you interact with your enemies changes some aspects of the story and gameplay. But it's kind of short, and the overall gameplay is kind of forgettable when it comes to exploring the overworld. It's linear, and the puzzles aren't very fun. There's nothing wrong with it just being forgettable, but the game was overhyped. It's $10 on Steam usually, and I say it's worth checking out for that price if you understand you're really not getting anything epic, but a nice, quaint little game that's worth trying out. Whew. Well, it looks like he did it. So, old fart, what did you give to said ancient evil?
I told him it's Halloween, so you'd play a game that scared you.
Okay, so what are we going to play? Five Nights at Freddy's, Resident Evil?
A game that personally scares you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I think you do, Sonny. It's time for you to go on a musical adventure.
Oh no, not that one! Mommy!
He'll be back soon with that review. Shoot me now.